Malaclip stayed by the door to warn me if anyone was coming. The inner sanctum sported a beautiful lectern. The plaque said it was donated to the temple by Mr. Fidean, of the militant servitors of Ikebana, goddess of topiary. Searching, I discovered there was a cavity in the base of the lectern. The space under the lectern was large enough to fit a whole person inside. Unfortunately, there wasn't much room to move inside. To my embarrassment, I got stuck.
Lewton! They're coming! Hide!
I'm way ahead of you, Malaclip.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together in the sight of our God, Anu, to speak of our devotion to the Anointed One at this, our time. But before today's sermon, I'd like to read from the cult bulletin for a moment. Firstly, there's a jumble sale next Saturday to raise funds to buy a fresh goat to sacrifice. We'd appreciate it if as many cultists as possible could attend. We don't want to have to sacrifice another pigeon. It hardly befits a deity of the illustrious wonder of Anu to be sacrificed another of Mrs. Jerboam's gerbils either. Yes, I know they breed like flies, but that's not the point.
The sermon was one of the most tedious things I'd ever had to listen to. And as if that wasn't bad enough, then the hymns started. Why the gods wanted to listen to such droning monotony was a mystery to me, but I suspected they just liked to make the mortals suffer. The temptation to sink something sharp into Mooncalf's feet was getting very hard to resist. I sprayed Mooncalf's feet with Sapphire's trawl perfume. That should make the little psychopath a little easier to follow. Sapphire's perfume cut through the stench of the river like a trawl wading through a dwarf street rally. The bright reek led into the shades, the oldest and most dangerous part of the city. As a wolf, I listened to what the so-called true believers were saying through one of the windows of the sanctuary.
Greetings, brethren. I call to order this extraordinary general meeting of the secret cabal of the true believers of Anu.
You smell nice tonight, boss.
What?
What is that? KC2?
What are you blathering about, Foyd? Anyway, I see we're all present.
Therma not present, boss.
Therma has to keep a low profile at the moment. Do not concern yourselves with her absence.
Why should Therma have such special status? I have important business of my own to be doing, and these interruptions aid no one.
Quiet, satrap. Mooncalf wouldn't have called us together if it wasn't important.
Indeed not. There is an investigator, a Mr. Lewton, who's been asking worrying questions. I think he may know about Nylonethatep.
I do now.
I still say this is madness. There must be a better way to glorify our beloved Anu without taking such risks.
You always were the spineless one, Coombe.
Silence, Kondo. As chairman, I will not permit such disputes when the meeting of true believers has just been called to order.
When can we have a dispute?
It can wait until we reach any other business.
Damn.
Shh! What is it? I heard something outside.
They say bravery is what tells the men from the boys. Well, I was a wolf, so I figured I could be brave and still run away. For some reason, the cultists had a map of Ankh-Morpork in the sanctuary. I couldn't easily take the map, but I could use it to work out some things. The sanctuary was decorated with a strange and disturbing fresco. Closely examining the fresco, I could see that one of the symbols made a frequent appearance. The recurring symbol on the fresco was like a distorted star with an eye in the center. I wasn't sure what it was. I made a sketch of the symbol in my notebook.
I'd like to read from...
Who would Sir like to see this time?
I'd like to use the library again.
Very well. I will show Sir the way, since it seems the labyrinthine corridors of this vast edifice are beyond Sir's meager navigational skills.
The Necrotelecomnicon was a book that legend spoke of, saying that any mortal man who read it would be driven insane. I learnt about it from a copy of Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students with practical experiments that I found in the library. In this tome there is a description of the old dark gods of the Disc, including the terrible laddering holler, Nyarlathotep. Apparently, Nyarlathotep was once summoned by a series of 8 murders forming a perfect octagram, focused at the center of the Circle C, thus releasing it from the sunken city of Leshp, where he was trapped, along with drunken Cthulhu Bapalulu. The book speculated about the whereabouts of Nyarlathotep now, but beyond him being safely imprisoned somewhere around the Circle C, it drew no conclusions. I found the obscure star-like symbol in the Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students. It called it the sign of the eel, or the elder sign. It was apparently a protective ward against some of the older, darker gods of the Discworld. The tome also explained how to inscribe one, the order of tracing being very important. Not that I believed any of this mumbo-jumbo, but hey, you can't afford to be too careful, right? I looked up the octagram of murders in the library, but I could only find the entry I'd already seen in Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students. The murders were marking out a perfect octagram, just like the one that had been used to free Nylonathotep from sunken Leshp centuries ago. If I was right, there would be two more murders, one in Dagon Street and one in the Wizard's Pleasance. If I knew which one was next, I could stake it out. In the center of the octagram was the Dysk Theatre, which almost certainly meant some kind of cosmic evil was entombed there. I can't say I was enthusiastic at the thought of checking it out. Dagon Street was a small, inconsequential alley in downtown Morpork. The moon over Dagon Street lit the rundown alley. It didn't look like anyone was around. It was as abandoned as the Octarine Parrot on open stage night. The abandoned fish bar was boarded up tight. I couldn't pull the boards off with my hands. Where I'd pulled away the boards was an open window. The fish bar was littered with assorted debris. Amongst the debris, I found a bone that seemed a little out of place. The The bone seemed out of place somehow. I wasn't sure why. I didn't want to take the bone. It was bad enough that I'd been carrying around some dead troll's tooth all this time. There was a disturbing dark magenta scent in the fish bar, something that resonated with cosmic evil. It scared me. It scared me that anything could have such a disturbing scent, and it scared me that I could tell what color cosmic evil was. The city's center of thespian excellence, the Dysk Theatre, was situated on the Isle of Gods, not far from Pseudopolis Yard.
Everyone on the disc knows the legend of Eleanor of Tzot. Or at least everyone knows a legend of Eleanor of Tzot. Or Krinix. Or El Harib. Ask most people and they'll tell you that she was the cause of the Tzotian Wars. Of course, ask most people and they'll tell you the patrician is a kind and benevolent man. Never trust what most people tell you. The real cause of the Tzotian Wars was a little-known goddess called Errata.
There was a flyer left behind on one of the seats. The 8 plays in sequence were The Happy Prince of Copperhaven, Antilogy in Clephatara, Kensington, The King of Ankh, The Leering King, The Tyrant, Truculus and Cressylic, and Titus Diplodocus. The flyer didn't tell me anything about them, though.
Who would Sir like to see this time?
I'd like to use the library again.
Very well. I will show Sir the way, since it seems the labyrinthine corridors of this vast edifice are beyond Sir's meager navigational skills.
I looked up well in the library and found his complete works.